everyone, welcome to your mountains painting class. In front of you, you should have your mountain sketch on your canvas, a cup of water, get my extra brushes out of the way, sorry, a paper towel, a large and a smaller brush, a red, a dark blue, a light blue, white, a purple, and a yellow. So be sure you have all those materials in front of you. Also, I do recommend grabbing a plate because we are going to mix several colors for our mountain painting. If you do not have all those materials, you are welcome to push pause on the video and come back whenever you are ready. All right, let's go ahead and get started. And of course, my paper towel is definitely way dirtier than yours. I've used it several times. But what I want everyone to go ahead and do first is grab their two brushes, your larger and smaller one, dip it into your cup of water, and get your brushes nice and clean for our painting class. When you are done, just tap them on your paper towel. Ooh, sorry about that. So they don't have too much water on there. Perfect. All right, step one of our painting class, we are gonna paint this part above this first mountain red, and we are gonna curve the red to the left side of the canvas as well. Let me show you how. So I'm gonna start with my small brush and my red paint. This first diagonal line, I'm gonna go over it with red. So small brush, red paint. Make a nice long red line, like so. I'm also gonna go right to the left of this mountain right here, so I know where to stop with my red. And so that my lines are nice and clean. And then more nice long drag. Like so. And on to the left as well. And then we are going to continue this line. Just bring it over to the left and have it connect. So I just made a line, connected it. And up here as well, where it kind of looks like it's going to curve over, I made a line right there too. So I'm just kind of creating a piece of the puzzle for my red paint. Once I was done with my outline, I can put my brush aside, can go back to it, my small brush if I need to get into smaller spots. But all I'm gonna do is paint this area red. And I'm just gonna paint it in a nice, mostly up and down motion. I'm gonna do my best to stick between those lines. Again, you wanna make sure you're kind of going in the same direction, staying with those lines. And again, you can also use your small brush to get to those smaller areas if needed. I do recommend 2 coats for this red, which means you paint it once, let it dry for a couple minutes, and then go back to it when it's not so shiny and give it another coat. So 2 coats. Oh, sorry, it's going in this up and down motion. Perfect. And then I'm even going to carry this red to the side, like so. So I have this whole section above this first mountain to the left in red. And again, I do suggest giving your paints 2 coats, even 3 coats, if you feel like it's gonna look better, because it's gonna look more solid where you can't see as much of the paintbrush strokes or the white canvas. All right, next step, I'm not gonna even clean my small brush. When I went back and I did my details, I kind of grabbed some more red, but I do want to make a pink now. And then pink is going to be the area to the left and to the right of the sun. So I am going to get a scoop of red with my small brush and find a nice clean area on my plate. So a scoop of red and a scoop of white. I'm going to stir it. I want to make sure I have a good amount, maybe a little bit lighter. Add some more white to it. Almost like a bubble gum pink. Like so. There we go. Using my small brush to mix it. So once I'm done with my mix, let me see, you can probably see it better over here. Once I'm done with my pink, remember I'm going to be in this area to the left and to the right of the sun. So I'm going to start on this line right here, and then this line right here. And it does carry over to the right over here, so I'm going to continue on this line, kind of tricky. Maybe a little bit more pink. I'll kind of go in this area. And outline the area I want to stay in with my pink. Side. And same on the left side of my sign. And this painting was inspired by a very amazing famous painter. His name was Peter Max. He really liked pop art, so things that were very popular, and he's actually still alive. I think he's in his 80s, but he likes to paint things that are very popular, like musicians, different landscapes with like mountains and water. Eiffel Tower, he's in the Eiffel Tower as well. So I've outlined those 3 sections. And again, I am going to fold over to the top where that pink kind of continues, almost to the corner of my canvas. And a little bit to, right, so kind of in that corner, I'm folding those 2 lines over, one to the left and one to the top. Perfect. And then once I'm done, I don't have to fully like wash my big brush that still has that red on it. I can kind of wipe most of it down on my paper towel, and then I can go back to that pink and paint inside of it. So I want most of that red off my big brush, but I don't have to wash it. It's okay if there's still some red on it. So that's one section. Just painting in the same direction. That's 2 sections. 3 sections. And again, I do like 2 or 3 coats per color, so if you wanted to go back and paint this section again, you can. Give it some time to dry. And also where it folds over to the left and over to the top. So you have that stream of light going from the corner, excuse me, and all the way to the right. There, perfect. And now once you are done with your pink, once you're done with however many layers you like, I'm just doing 1 just for time's sake. You can wash and dry both of your brushes. Here we're done with our pinks and our reds. And this artist, Peter Max, M-A-X, also really liked bright colors. So as you can see, a lot of nice bright colors on this one. We are going to avoid this red and pink area for a little bit while they dry. We don't want to add any colors near them or on top of them. So again, I want to make sure I get all that color off my brushes. So I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to use my purple to kind of paint this area and this area purple, but do not paint on the snow top on this one. So let me show you how. Small brush, purple paint. It's kind of like that plummy purple that you have. I'm going to go underneath my snowy area. Come down over here. Use my small brush to outline it. My paint got kind of dry. I've been using the same paint for a while. So water, tap, tap, tap on my paper towel so it moves a little bit better. And then it does continue on the left side as well. So this left one right here. Follow that line. I'm going to cover up my pencil lines. And don't forget where things kind of fold over. This one does fold over. And I'm just going to meet it kind of at a point at the end of that canvas. And then for this one, this last little area right here, where that next mountain kind of starts, I'll make a line right there. So I know to kind of paint in this space right here, this space right here, where it makes kind of the letter V. Once I'm done outlining, then I can jump to my bigger brush and paint inside of it. It's nice purple. Again, 2, maybe 3 coats. You can use your smaller brush if you need to get into those smaller areas. But the more coats, the better for this kind of plummy purple. It just always looks better. And once you're done painting this area with this plummy purple, don't wash your brush because we'll be adding some white to this purple on our brush. So don't wash your brush once you're done. This artist was also very well traveled. Whenever he was a kid, he lived in places like China and Israel, and him and his family slowly made it to New York City, where he took some art classes. So that whole section, again, I would definitely do 2, maybe 3 coats. If you need to pause the video so you can go back and touch it up, you can. You can always drag your brush like this too and use the side of it to kind of clean up the sides. Perfect. And again, I'm not going to clean my brush. I'm just going to dip it into the white. And then this mountain right here is going to be a little bit of my purple and white blend. And again, you can use your brush to kind of drag it so you have a nicer clean line. Just kind of painting a little bit more diagonal on this one. And again, a little bit of purple, a little bit of white if you need to go back for more. Oops, excuse me. I got too much on there. Then 2, maybe 3 coats. And if you want to use your water, you can tap it on your paper towel and then go over your purple and white to kind of get it moving a little bit better. Again, I'm going to paint the bottom part where it kind of carries over, where the purple and that light purple you just made meet. Go all the way over. And also here to the right, you can make a line at the top of that mountain and paint all that space kind of in a diagonal formation again. And I would do 2, maybe 3 coats of this color as well, just so it looks a little bit more solid. You don't see the paintbrush strokes. If you do want to see the paintbrush strokes, then you can leave it at just 1 coat. Again, nice long brush strokes, fill that whole area. Perfect. All right, so purple and white. Excellent. And guess what? I'm not going to clean my brush again. I'm going to take my purple and white on my brush, and I'm going to go to that lighter blue. So purple and white on my brush. And this biggest, tallest mountain, I'm going to go in there and outline it. And if you don't feel like you're getting a good mix of purple, light blue, and white, you can always mix it on your plate too, or just kind of have all 3 of them on your brush and really move that brush. So it's blue, purple, and white. Definitely a little bit more blue than this one. And I'm going to use my big brush to kind of follow that shape. But I've just kind of kept a dirty brush and kept on using it. Outline this shape right here. Drag that brush. Paint's a little dry, water, tap, 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 and fill all the space underneath your snowy mountain with a little bit of blue, purple, and white. I think I do want a little bit more blue to this. And again, I would do 2, maybe 3 coats of this to really get a nice solid mountain with no canvas peeking through, and you can't see the paintbrush strokes. Give it a couple minutes and then go over it. also, I think I'm going to use a little bit of the blue, purple, and white on my small brush. I think I lost some of these little spiky areas. I can use my small brush to kind of get those back. Water, tap, 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 and kind of go over those areas. Like so. So I have a little bit of a bluish, purplish, white mix, 2, maybe 3 coats. Once you're done, you can go ahead and wash and dry your 2 brushes that you used. Get them nice and clean. Really wash my 2 brushes. I'm gonna dry them like so. I'm gonna let these dry for just a moment, and I'm gonna work on my yellow and white sun. So small brush, be sure your red's nice and dry and your pink is nice and dry. So small brush, that kind of yellowish paint that you have. And your yellow, I always think of it as ketchup and mustard. Your yellow is gonna right next, and I'm using my small brush to outline again. Be very wary of any wet paints. Remember that yellow is gonna kind of turn over where the pink and the red are. Be sure they're nice and dry as well. And then I can use my big brush with my yellow paint. Again, be sure your paintbrush is nice and clean. We don't want any blues or purples in this yellow. 2, maybe 3 coats with this one. You don't have to wash your brushes. There you go. Perfect, like so. I'm not going to clean the yellow off of my brush, and there's no yellow here on the right side, just in case you're wondering, just a strip of yellow up here, and don't forget where it curves to the left. I'm not going to clean my 2 brushes. I am going to actually just wipe most of them off on my paper towel. Make sure there's no other colors touching them. There we go. I'll take my small one and just add some white to it. So it should still have a little bit of yellow on there. Outline. Actually go over my pencil line with some white. There is still a little bit of yellow on there too, which is absolutely fine. Maybe even 2 coats of white so you can get rid of that pencil mark a little bit more. And then just whatever's left on your big brush, the yellow paint, you can just kind of go in there, use the leftovers, and just a little bit of yellow should be on there. If you got too yellow, let it dry and go back and add some more white to it. So yellow, dry your brushes, add some white, this really light sun area. And you can use your white to get rid of some of that pencil line as well. There you go. Next up, we're gonna wash and dry our brushes again. And we're gonna paint this top area with the dark blue. So wash and dry. If you're still working on your 2 coats, if you wanna go back and touch anything up, you can. Just be aware of other wet colors that might mix with another wet color that you might be using. Excuse me. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my small brush and my dark blue paint, the one that I have not used yet. I'm going to make sure my pink is nice and dry on my canvas. And I'm going to use my blue line, so my darker blue over my sun. Be careful if this one's still wet. And I am gonna carry it over. Ooh, let's see if we can see that one a little bit better. Where the pink meets the white, and where that light purple, better known as lavender, kind of meets the white. So I'm gonna go into that space. And then I can use my bigger brush and paint all that top part of the sky, that blue. Even where it kind of folds over to the left, the right, and the top of my canvas. So anything that's white above this line, we do want to paint it all blue. 2 coats, 3 coats if you prefer. Be sure there's no bumps. I'm just kind of painting in an up and down motion. The more coats you give it, the more solid it's going to look, not so much sweepy lines. So once I'm done with this dark blue, if you're still working on your second or third coat, you're welcome to pause the video. And again, the top part, what kind of curls over. All right, be sure your paint looks nice and flat, no bumps. I'm gonna go over and smooth it out, like so. All right, so nice blue sky. Next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna paint this bottom one with my lighter blue on its own, and I can wash and dry both my brushes, do what I've been kind of continually doing, outlining and fill it in. Small brush, oh sorry guys, small brush, light blue paint underneath my mountain, little zigzags to the left, and it carries over to the right. Don't forget where it kind of carries over to the left side. Small brush, light blue, outline, and then you can fill in with your big one. Be sure the big brush is nice and clean. 2, 3 coats again. So again, a Peter Max influenced painting. An artist who really liked pop culture, so things that were popular, and especially with music and movies. Well-traveled artist. Like to use bright colors, very cheery and happy artist, pretty amazing. Still alive, which is always bonus. A lot of times when we do these kind of art history classes, the artist is unfortunately already passed away, but this one is still alive in New York City. So light blue, make sure you have all that area. All right, perfect. All right, and then last but not least, and it's totally optional, you can go on top of your snow with your white paint. Just be sure that your brushes are extra clean, that your white paint does not have any other colors in it. You're not getting your brushes with anything but white on it. Also be sure these paints are nice and dry so they don't mix with your white. You can even wrap your 2 brushes with your paper towel, really get them all clean. So dry mountains, super clean brushes, super clean white paint, and you can go over your pencil lines. Just gonna clean up the snowy areas. I'm just using my small brush, kind of going in there, just kind of, my yellow was still wet, so I'm gonna kind of avoid it. If you did get it wet color on there, you can let it dry and then just gonna go back over it with white once it dries out, so you white it out. So there you go. And I'm gonna go in here and just kind of stay in this area. White paint, go over my pencil lines. It's kind of covered up. It's kind of moving in an up and down motion the way the snow is kind of coming down the mountain. But there you are. And again, I would definitely recommend 2 or 3 coats for each color. I just did one, and again, you can see all of those little sweeps. So be sure you are letting the paint dry before you go back and give it another coat, 2, maybe even 3 coats if you want. But otherwise, you are all set for your Peter Max painting of mountains, Peter Max inspired painting of mountains. I hope you had fun, and hopefully we'll see you soon.